In a studio that's in a basement comes the epic story of how two friends changed the future of the movie podcast game forever. The reviews are in. Boys Life magazine gives the High Sci podcast 4.5 acorns. The Daily Bugle says, these guys are super legit. And Pope Francis declares the podcast as life-affirming. From the kid who tried to get smart with David Spade and got fucking old.
You're still out. You're still bad.
And the guy who can name all four Baldwin brothers.
Alec, William, Daniel, and the baby boy, Stephen.
Live from the studio of his parents' basement. The Have You Seen It podcast.
Welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight. That over there is Cash Kraus.
Hello.
Welcome.
How's it going?
You know, it's going.
It is going.
It is going.
We are like 27 days into the new year, into 2020. And let me tell you, Mason, so far, this year can fuck off.
Yeah, this year is
can go
absolute
right
trash.
back.
After the tragedy of what happened yesterday.
I like the tens a lot more.
Yeah, at
Tens
this
were
rate, I
simpler
liked it a lot better
times.
too.
Tens were easier times. My heroes weren't dying as much.
No kidding.
But yeah, Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, this is not a movie news, but we have to bring this up because like,
It is kind of movie related though, because he did win an
because he
Oscar.
won an
at one
Oscar.
point. That's the
Yes.
only reason we're allowed to talk about
Exactly.
it. Normally, we wouldn't say a single word if it's not movie related.
because knowing us, we have never gone off topic for
Nope,
anything.
we are always right
Right
on
on the
cue.
ball.
We're right in the script. We're reading the prompters
We are.
constantly.
We do actually, as a matter of fact, we have two different teleprompters.
Two separate prompters. We have two separate guys running each
Right.
prompter as well.
Yeah.
It takes a crew, a village,
It
as
does.
they say.
And our producer over there,
Yeah. Give him a nod.
give him a nod. Thank
Always
you.
working hard. But yeah, Kobe Bryant helicopter crash.
Man, he had his 13-year-old daughter with him as well, and 7 others died in that plane crash. Or helicopter crash, sorry.
Loved. Yeah. It usually is a plane crash that takes our heroes, but helicopter this time. Those damn helicopters, man.
Dude. Man, like, you know, we were talking about this off air earlier where it was like we knew where we were 10 years ago when Michael Jackson died.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
11 years now,
yeah.
I guess, technically, or 10 and a half. But we know exactly where we will be in 10 years from now when we heard the news that Kobe Bryant died.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely, yeah.
At first, I thought it was fake, too, because it's like Kobe Bryant dies in a helicopter crash. You're
Yeah,
like, there's no way.
my first
Kobe?
reaction was how? How
Yeah,
could
how?
that man, the Black Mamba,
One of the greatest basketball players to ever live. And
Oh
it's,
yeah,
you know,
top 3, without a doubt, in my mind. But yeah, I couldn't believe it. It's crazy, man. Just crazy. Just goes to show you that tomorrow is not guaranteed.
It's really not, man. I mean, 41 years old, had his whole life ahead of him, won an Oscar for best short film.
Oh man, everyone always talked that he would come back and coach too, just because how competitive he is and crazy. Got out of basketball, only got to enjoy 5 years of retirement.
No, didn't he retire in 2017?
Yeah.
So like
it's 2016,
2.5.
17. Yeah.
3 years, maybe at most.
Crazy.
And during that time
His
period,
entire life
he
to
won
basketball.
an Oscar.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things to do in film, and he won one.
Well, he wrote a few different children's books because the Oscar was for short animation.
Yes, for Dear Basketball.
Yeah, and he wrote a few kids' books because he was like, he just became the most dedicated father of all time. That was like his new competitiveness. Instead of basketball, he just became the competitive father.
Yep.
He fucking loved his kids. Crazy.
He was so involved with all 4 of his kids'
They
lives.
just had a new baby kid.
7-month-year-old.
I can't imagine what his
Or
wife is going.
7-month-old.
Vanessa Bryant. I can't imagine bearing your husband
oh my
and
God,
your
and your daughter.
that is horrible.
Seriously, thought like not just saying this, but legit, my thoughts and prayers have been with
Oh
her
yeah,
and all the people involved because it's so tragically sad, man.
crazy. It's
It's-
why
it's-
I didn't come to the studio by helicopter today.
That's true.
And I normally
you do.
And I normally do. I
You
take
bring
the
the heli.
heli. I take the heli in.
Well, we have
the
a helipad here, so
You
I
have
mean,
the
you know.
helipad, and the helipad wasn't being used until I started bringing it. I don't know
You
why
did.
you had one.
I don't know why either.
Just in case, but yeah, today in memory, I did
Yes.
not use the the helicopter. We're staying grounded today, and I'll probably retire all helicopter travel for the foreseeable future.
Well, and
me.
I also like, talking about this a little bit more, and then we'll move on to the movie that we're going to review today. But, we initially were going to meet up yesterday too.
Yeah.
And I was really glad that you messaged me.
All joking aside, I was
mood.
down. I was
in a mood yesterday. Like, ask anyone who was involved with me, because we were playing that 3-on-3. We have that basketball thing that we play every Sunday.
Yeah.
And it's like an actual league.
I'm not an NBA player, but I wouldn't have wanted to go out and play basketball.
I know, man. Like, every time I took a shot or anything, like, all I could think about was Kobe all day long.
It's crazy.
And, the
it's
tragedy,
crazy.
man.
I told you yesterday, but I had a similar reaction to when Robin Williams died.
Yes.
I normally do not, at all feel much at all when a celebrity dies. But Robin Williams hurt, and this one fucking hurt. Just because
childhood, man.
Just because, I feel like Kobe was on TV for 50% of my childhood. I feel like if you're turning on, it was something about Kobe.
Always.
If you ever listen to Sports Center during the 2000s or 90s, they were talking about Kobe. Every 15 minutes.
And we're based out of Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
So it was like,
so we have means a huge rivalry.
Of course, but it was always that love-hate with Kobe.
Oh,
we
yeah.
loved to watch Kobe. I loved to go to Laker games as a child.
We have all the
had season
reasons
tickets.
in the world to hate Kobe.
Yes.
All the world.
But we only hated him because he wasn't a part of our team, but we loved to watch him because he was the most dynamic basketball player of all time.
Yeah.
Like, you watch that man
and the
shoot,
energy
dribble.
he brought. Whenever you ever went
Huge
to a
energy.
Lakers versus Blazers, every place he went, just fucking, it was like Game 7. Because he played like he had a gun to his head.
Yep.
Even if it was fucking third game of the season, he always played like he had that. It's the Mamba mentality.
It is. And that's what he was one of the greatest competitors in my mind to
that's what everyone
ever
says.
play the game.
Oh, yeah. He played like, I don't know. He played like it wasn't a game.
Yeah. And it really is like it's sad. So we wanted to at least bring up Kobe.
Oh, we had to.
We had to because it's deservedly so, and it is relative to the podcast as well because he did win an Oscar.
He did.
So
yeah.
With that, rest in peace, Kobe, his daughter, and the other ones affected because the other people involved in that helicopter crash, well-renowned baseball coach of 20 plus years.
Yeah, and
his family
and another kid,
and another kid
child.
in their family. There were 3 kids who died.
I'm sure he'll be in the memoriam during the Oscars this year.
They should.
It's always that's always I do always enjoy that part, but that has always a sad. Even like seeing like the sound designers and like it's always sad to me. But
he
should be in it.
If they don't, that is something I would actually be pretty upset about because he won an Oscar.
He did, but they didn't have. They didn't have David Bowie in the memoriam when because
they didn't.
No, because I think it's like you got to give that to the Grammys. Like that's the Grammys. They got to have Bowie for their memoriam. So maybe like sports, maybe they won't do it for because he only won 1 Oscar. So maybe because I don't know.
Won one
I know,
Oscar,
I know.
But it's like
they did it because I was surprised when they
highest.
didn't have David. But David Bowie's only. So maybe like the NBA was kind of like has rights for his death or whatever. Because I mean, he was going to be on the ballot this year for Hall of Fame. So they're going to have a huge thing for him. But I hope they have him in the Oscars. They should because he did win an Oscar.
Yeah.
It's not like that you have to win an Oscar, but he was never in a movie, unfortunately.
No.
But he was supposed to be in what is the
Space Jam 2.
Well, he was supposed to be
Originally.
instead of Kevin Garnett.
He was supposed to be in Uncut Gems.
He was the
That's
original.
right,
He
the
was
original
supposed to be,
one.
because it was supposed to be set in L.A. originally.
And then they switched the whole script for Kobe, and then he couldn't end up doing it.
Yeah, because he wasn't a player anymore. Yeah, so cool. But we're not here to talk about Kobe.
We're not.
We just wanted to bring up, really, what are we here to talk about, Mason?
We're here to talk about the Guy Ritchie directed film, The Gentleman.
Yeah.
Which advertisements in the last 2 weeks have really picked up on YouTube. I'm really starting to see a lot of The Gentleman.
Oh, yeah. It's from the genius Guy Ritchie who brought us the well-known movies
Don't
Aladdin
bring up the last
and
one,
King
though.
Arthur.
King Arthur. Have you seen that yet?
King
You
Arthur,
still haven't seen
Legend
it, have
of the Sword.
Legend of the Sword.
So this guy, he can direct. We know. Okay, he's got some things under his belt. He's got some gems.
He does.
So we know, he's got experience. But no, I have not seen King Arthur yet.
Okay. Well, let me know when you do.
I definitely will. In all honesty, he's directed other movies. He's directed some of my favorite gangster films of all time: Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch, Rock and Roller. He just hasn't done gangster films in a while.
Yes.
He's been doing a lot of mainstream shit lately, but this is coming
going back to his bread and butter.
roots. His old stomping grounds. It is a gangster film. It's not a heist film like some of his films, but it is definitely a gangster film.
Yep.
What do you think about it?
Man, I was pleasantly surprised about this film. I loved it. I loved every character. I thought it was well fleshed out. I can't wait to talk about this because Guy Ritchie has a certain way that he directs his films.
Oh, yeah.
And it's always from a narrative point of view.
Oh, yeah.
With his characters.
It's all dialogue.
Yes.
It's all dialogue and quick edits.
Very quick edits. And it's the same, too.
Absolutely. And I love it.
But
it works very...
every time.
For these type of films, it works very well.
Oh, yeah.
Not for every Guy Ritchie film, but for these gangster films like that, especially where one guy is telling another guy pretty much the entire plot, it works very well. And characters. Guy Ritchie films, these gangster ones, are always these big array of characters running into each other while this craziness is going on. But yeah, like it's all dialogue for sure, and the dialogue works very well for sure.
It does.
Yeah.
There are a lot of funny moments in this movie too.
It is a very funny movie. I was surprised. All those other past films have been funny, but this one was very good. My audience was dying.
Yeah, I went to a pretty packed theater too, and
Yeah,
everyone was laughing.
Yeah, I went last night, I think, and saw it, and yeah, pretty packed for this movie that I was kind of surprised about.
Yeah, I went Friday morning, right? Yeah. Keep in mind, it was like an 11:45 a.m. show or something, or like noon. And my theater, we had at least 40 or 50 people in the theater, and I was like, "What the hell?" I walked in, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
the back rows, front rows.
Because to me, they weren't. I mean, I saw a lot of commercials for it, but it didn't seem like they were really, like invested in it.
Yeah,
like they weren't sure how well it was going to do or not. Because I guess recently, Guy Ritchie, I mean, he hasn't done the greatest. I mean, he's done stuff that's a little
bit of a skit.
He's done stuff that's made money. He's done Aladdin, and he also did the Sherlock Holmes, which none of them I thought were very well. But
he did Disney's Aladdin.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I didn't hate that.
Yeah, and I didn't love it.
Well, I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was terrible.
But compared to this is his best film in my opinion since those original games. Or I actually liked. He also directed Man from U.N.C.L.E. Did you ever see that?
No, I've never
film?
seen that. Nope.
I think that was really underrated. That deserves a sequel. And
Hugh Grant was in that one as well.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it at the end. But this movie gets real fucking meta at the end. Because he goes to Miramax at the very end, and there's a Man from U.N.C.L.E. poster.
Is there really?
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah,
no.
yeah. That he's
okay,
in.
That's funny, yeah.
So it gets real kind of weird meta, but an ensemble cast. Heavy hitters in this.
Yes.
We have Matthew McConaughey, who plays Mickey Pearson, the marijuana drug lord, which is kind of weird to say in 2020. Marijuana drug lord. But in the UK.
But UK, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Honestly, originally I didn't know this was based in the UK just from the trailers.
Oh yeah.
So I was like,
if it's Guy
Ritchie,
Ritchie,
this is strange.
If it's Guy Ritchie, he can almost
but
guarantee.
Then,
yeah, I know. But I'm glad they even brought up legalization at one point. Because if they completely did, I'm like, you got to talk about it at one point. Like it's very obvious. But yeah, Charlie Hunnam.
Yes.
Who is not my favorite, but this might be my favorite role of his.
See, that's crazy that you always say that you don't like him. Because I love Charlie Hunnam. I love him in Sons of Anarchy. I love him in everything that he's in, honestly.
But he was really good in, did you love him in...
King Arthur? No. I didn't like the movie in general, so,
But I liked him a lot in The Lost World of Z.
Yeah, see, and I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, that's the one that you. It's really good.
What's so funny about that? That was like supposed to be our 4th episode of the podcast. We were supposed to review that, and we didn't get to see it.
Yeah. I watched, but man, that was a really good fucking movie. Surprisingly good. But I think this is maybe my favorite role. His dialogue between him and Hugh Grant
was awesome.
They steal the show. Hugh Grant steals the show. He's just chewing up the scenery in every fucking scene.
And that was one thing. Like normally. Like for me, I watch performances and I see how like seamless it is for some actors. He just felt so natural in this role. Like it was like he was born to play it. And I'm not saying it's like an Oscar nomination.
Charlie Hunnam or
no,
Hugh Grant.
No. I'm talking about Hugh Grant.
Yeah, the character
like it was born for him.
The character of Fletcher that he plays, that is a great. I like the way Hugh Grant's career is going because Hugh Grant's another guy that I never loved because he used to only do rom-coms.
A lot of rom-coms.
But now he's kind of becoming like, the older he's getting, he's kind of becoming that villain kind of shady character. And I like the path his career is taking because I like him a lot more in these roles. Because he plays Fletcher, who is a PI in this, and he's basically just a piece of shit.
He is, yeah.
He's just a leech. Parasite. Even when he's just
always looking for the next big score.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That kind of guy.
Yeah, that's it. He's just kind of taking advantage of everyone, even when he's at Charlie's house, because Charlie Hunnam plays Mickey Pearson's right hand man,
second in
control. Yeah. But even when he's at his house, he's fucking drinking all his liquor, eating his steaks, going to the bathroom, flirting with him the entire time.
That shit was so funny though. Towards the end with Charlie Hunnam, where he's like, "I knew you couldn't resist the steak and the whiskey."
Yeah.
And, we'll get to it later, but just that little part was so funny.
Another bottle. So, again, that character he's playing, it's a very funny character.
There were
I don't
so
know if
many great
either him and
between
him and
too.
Guy Ritchie, they both have into that, but it's
and the
a great
box
character.
Scene too.
Oh
where
yeah,
he's like, "Oh, what's the box for?"
And we didn't even mention, but Colin Farrell. Colin Farrell, I thought was hilarious in it too.
Colin Farrell was awesome. Yeah,
the tracksuits. I want all the guys wearing the same tracksuits.
We got to get some of those tracksuits in here at some point.
Those tracksuits were so funny to me, and everyone at the gym all wearing the same tracksuit.
And I love how they're just like going around making videos.
The dumbest guys of all time.
They're not very smart. No.
And how understanding Colin. And at the end, they murder. I mean, they murder. They just think they're doing. But these guys are fucking morons.
Yeah.
But it's a key role in Guy Ritchie films. Is some characters are just idiots, and that's what I love about it because it's realistic. Just a bunch of dumb fucking kids trying to make their coach happy or whatever, trying to make amends for what they screwed up and just doing everything wrong. But should we just dive into it?
Yeah, let's jump into this.
So this kind of skips ahead, but we learn that Big Dave, an editor at like a UK tabloid, he plans on making Mickey Pearson's criminal activities known to the world. Mickey Pearson, again, Matthew McConaughey, who is the UK's largest marijuana
distributor.
Yeah.
Yes, grower and distributor.
He has 12 hidden sites around the UK. And he's making, what did it say? Like he's making like $100 million a year or something.
Easily, yeah. He's bringing in a lot of cheddar.
But he's a genius, Matthew McConaughey or Mickey Pearson. No one knows where any of these sites are. No one knows anything about him really, and he's completely stayed hidden. And he's been in control for like 20 years or something. And we learned that Mickey Pearson, he's an American, which is kind of odd, especially for a Guy Ritchie film. But he's an American that came over because he was going to Oxford. Yep. Full ride. He came from like white trash.
Yeah, he got a Rhodes Scholarship for that.
Yeah, which is not easy to do. You got to be pretty smart. But he immediately like drops out once he starts selling.
He was selling marijuana in the early days inside of the school to these privileged
because he immediately
kids.
realized in the UK marijuana is kind of more coveted. In America, fuck
we can get it anywhere, anytime.
The janitors are selling you weed at school. I mean, everyone's smoking. But in the UK, it's kind of a heavy hitter.
Right.
People there are like, oh shit. I mean, there were, But so he immediately finds out that he can make all this fucking money. So he starts selling to all those fucking, all their kind of rich yuppies. And this is kind of like a theme throughout the movie is kind of these, this high class people that he immediately gets in with as a kid. And then he stays in with them. What do they call them? They call it the toffs. Is that all the people like the states he goes and, grows all his marijuana? They're all like there's rich people.
Yeah, they're rich.
They're
I don't
called
know
like
what
the
they're called
toffs or something like that. But yeah, so that's where he began, and he immediately ended up dropping out of school. And at this point, it's a midlife crisis.
Mm-hmm.
It's the president. He's looking to sell the empire, and not for nothing.
No, he wants $400 million cash for his business.
$400 million. This is all taking place while Fletcher has came to Charlie Hunnam's character's home. Who does Charlie play again?
Raymond, right?
Yeah, Raymondo. That's what Fletcher calls him. Yeah, so this is all being told to Raymond by Fletcher, who is blackmailing him and his boss.
And he's
for
blackmailing him through a screenplay.
Screenplay and just a ton of evidence.
Through the story.
And just a ton of evidence that he's been collecting for
pictures and whatnot.
For Big Dave, the editor of the print magazine.
The tabloid magazine.
Because we learned Big Dave, again, the main theme in this film for me was that rich upper class. Because Big Dave's entire thing is Mickey Pearson snuffed him at a big dinner.
1% dinner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
of all rich people, he just snubbed him in front of everyone.
Yeah,
rich
people on fucking. We were talking about it a little bit earlier.
Elite class.
Elite and the royalty class in England.
Royalty, yeah.
Because like 1 in 3 people are royalty in England.
I guess so. Yeah.
Everyone's in line to be
Duchess and Dutch. I don't know.
Again, the small island, so everyone's fucking royalty in one. But yeah, all he did was he went up to Mickey Pearson, Big Dave did, and tried to shake his hand. But Mickey Pearson knew that he was a tabloid journalist,
and he was trying to ruin his career.
Yeah, and he said. He just walked away, and that was a big deal because everyone started fucking with Big Dave. And we learned that Big Dave from Fletcher is kind of this guy that's been trying to get his way into the fucking upper class. He's an asshole, pretty much. Right. But
and Matthew McConaughey, he wants to sell his business to the American billionaire Matthew Berger.
Yeah, the Jew that they keep calling him.
Yes.
Yeah. That was one of the complaints from a lot of reviews that I read was that some of this movie was insensitive.
Well, you know, there's a lot of movies insensitive. Look at Quentin Tarantino; his movies are insensitive,
very insensitive. And
but
look,
at the same
look
time,
what Guy Ritchie got to start. I mean, it might have played better in the '90s and early 2000s, but that's exactly how all of his films were. You know, if you were gay, every character in the goddamn movie was going to talk about it, and they're going to have like your nickname was going to be the fairy or something like that. That's
but
very
it is,
common.
You know, it is a realistic look because like not everyone thinks about being insensitive. Some characters don't care. Some people don't care.
Especially gangsters.
Exactly, especially gangsters who just
they're
kill
not
people.
Looking at it
you
being
think they
PC.
care about your feelings before they put a bullet in your head?
Yeah,
no, they don't.
Exactly. But
this is one of the art forms where it's like, this is what needs to show.
And that was a lot of. This is one of the ones where I was disagreeing with a lot of critics because a lot of critics came out and did not like this movie.
Yeah, so did I. I disagreed with.
I disagreed with a lot of them about that. Yeah, because. I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. But yeah, so he is going to sell to another kind of, shady character, Matthew, who's from America, and he's going to buy it for $400 million. But first, Mickey's got to give Matthew the tour.
The tour, yes.
Yeah, he's got
one of his facilities.
Because everyone wants to know how the fuck is he selling all this,
and how is he staying under the radar?
Caught? Yeah. No one knows.
And it's pretty clever.
It is pretty clever. I actually like that. Yeah. I mean, one good thing about Guy Ritchie is his writing is always. He may not be the best, but his writing is always good. It's always pretty pure. Yeah,
and I totally agree with that, and that's so funny because that is something I was just about to bring up as well. Where it's his story, like this story was so easy to follow. Like piece by piece about how the organization worked. There was so much detail where but he didn't overcomplicate it where you're left with, I get it, but there's so many moving pieces. He dumbs it down, but not in a negative way, but in a way where it's like you can just go to the theater and just enjoy this movie. It's easy. He's got a cohesive story. He puts it together so well from point A to point B to point C that you're like, I get how everything works. I think that's why this movie's so enjoyable.
Well, that's why all of his old, I say old, but it's like 90s, early 2000s gangster films are so enjoyable because the plot is always super simple. It's always like a big diamond someone's after or something like that. And it's just craziness of people. That's what Snatch is about. Them following people looking for this diamond. It's always super simple. This plot is super simple. It's a guy trying to sell his marijuana empire and another guy trying to bring down that price. It's super fucking simple to follow. It's super easy. It's the characters that are interesting. It's the characters that are unpredictable. The story might be predictable, but the characters are unpredictable.
Yes.
Because that's what it is. You don't know who's double crossing who, They call it double bubble in this.
Double bubble,
Couple people are trying to get that double bubble.
Bubble, I get it. Hey, man, you dip your hands in twice.
Yeah, man, that's right. But everyone's trying to get double bubble in that. And that's what we learned is Fletcher is blackmailing Mickey and Raymond for $20 million. If he doesn't get $20 million, he's gonna give Big Dave everything about his empire, where he grows, So we go back. Mickey's giving the tour. He's showing the big secret, and the secret is he's growing at all these estates. Mm-hmm. He's growing at all these fucking really rich people who don't do anything.
And generationally, so
they're running
people,
out of money. Yeah.
And then they would die off, and then the younger generation would take it over and not have the available funds to upkeep.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, when you have a giant mansion or a giant estate
you're
like
not working, and you're
not working,
yeah,
yes.
That's the
and
thing about old
money. Keep up with the lawn, with the roof, with all of these things that entail
and those
a giant
estates,
house.
I mean, English estates, people that haven't seen this movie will know what we're talking about. You've seen an English estate probably in any English movie. They're like 800 acres. They all have like
Giant.
their own hunting grounds and stuff like that.
Have, massive land.
Yeah, exactly. It takes like 80 people to run it. So like all these people. So what he's doing, he's going in and he's making a deal with all these people.
He's giving them $1 million cash a year.
Yeah. But it talks about it goes in that he had to build these relationships, and it started in Oxford, and it took a lot of time to do.
And then Guy Ritchie doesn't just tell you he builds the relationships; he shows you later on with the estate, with trying to find a new estate, and then getting in with these people, finding their daughter who ran away.
And kind of how much he cared, even by the guy who's like, "Yeah, I'll build a new roof for you," even though these are rich, assholes, they're really just people just trying to maintain that sense of reality as long as possible because they don't want to work.
Yeah.
These people can't go to a job. They're frail and they're just fall apart. So he's giving them $1 million a year and kind of helping them out, keeping the state in the name and whatnot. And for in return, he's grown. He's
massive grow up on the property underground as well.
Yeah, and these are 12 different states all over the UK, and he's growing them underground, and they're very big grow ups.
They're huge.
Yeah, you wouldn't even fucking.
I thought it was so cool too. Like how many marijuana plants they had all the way down wherever they shot this was. And I like the color scheme too, with kind of like the grow lights too.
Oh yeah.
Now it's kind of like purple and dark blue.
You gotta use the UV. Come on, everyone knows that. But yeah, it was cool. But yeah, what a massive operation. I mean, he must have been doing construction for a long time to make these underground caverns in 12 different estates.
Must have got a hold of the Germans because they know how to do that.
They know how to bail. If you know anything, so they know how to build
dig
trenches
underground. Yep.
But yeah. I noticed how they only ever used that one grow up whenever they went back to it. It's not like they ever used 12 different ones. They kept going back to that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's showing Matthew, and Matthew's he's interested. He says, "Hey, things are all legit. 400 million. That's a good price." Mm-hmm. And in the mix, we kind of learn that Mickey, he's got a bloody past. He grew up kind of taking out people, the competition. We show from when he was like in Oxford, he murdered like 4 guys with a machete. In that one scene, that was pretty
brutal.
Yeah. So, but in his old age, he's getting a little soft. They say, and they say because he's selling, that makes him look bad. Makes him look like he's.
It makes him look like he's out of touch.
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
losing his power.
And I like.
Which. Not to cut you off here, but what I liked about that is it is so real. I mean, you look at like Pablo Escobar. If he ever tried to step down, people would try to take him out. Because it's a sign of weakness. So it's one of those things where it's like once you're in, you're in. You can never leave until you are 6 feet underground.
It's just like American gangsters. They never retired.
No. There's no such thing as retirement. You live
retirement is
hard and
just
fast
getting fucking a bullet in the head. That's early retirement. That's early retirement, yeah. But yeah, it's the same thing where it's like, you can't, as soon as you show any weakness, because, it's a jungle is what the reference, we've never heard that before, but it's a jungle. So as soon as a lion, and that's what Mickey always calls himself, as soon as a lion shows any weakness, the younger lions are going to fucking snatch that up.
Yep.
They're going to bite the shit out of you. And that's what immediately we get. We get a new up-and-comer called Dry Eye. Yeah. In Dry Eye, he's a Chinese gangster, and they let you know he's Chinese throughout this.
They definitely do. A few times.
Because I'm a Chinaman, which is a little insensitive.
It is insensitive.
But yeah, it's funny throughout the film. But he's coming up, and he's kind of
the up and coming Chinese gangster.
Yeah, but he's not like old school in any way. Where he's like the new kind of gangster, where he's rich and kind of soft. And he has everyone else do
the dirty work.
That's the only thing about this film is in other Guy Ritchie films, the villains were always, I don't know, a lot scarier and a lot better. That's the only thing I felt was lacking a lot in this film. Was I never felt the villain was anything
substantial
much.
at all.
Yeah, because Matthew was half a villain, really. You know, he was working around. He was never scary or anything. And Dry Eye, every scene he's in, he almost make him look like a coward.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in every scene that he's in. So that was one thing about this film.
Even
is
what
there was
his
no
character does in the orders he gives, it's cowardly.
Exactly.
He can't do it himself.
So
never.
for this film, for being a guy, there was no real strong, scary villain in this one. Even, I guess, Mickey was supposed to be kind of the archetype, even kind of maybe the bad guy, but even he wasn't super scary. We just got to hate him. So that was kind of my one complaint, was because Matthew wasn't scary at all.
No.
He was just conniving, you know, he was just shitty. But yeah, so Dry Eye, he wants to make Mickey an offer. And he does this by going through Mickey's wife. And I like the relationship between Matthew McConaughey and the lady who played the wife. I almost wish I would have saw a little bit more of it.
Yeah, I like their
relationship. Because their bond
seems
so strong. I almost
did.
wanted to see more of how that bond was made or whatever. How is that strong?
It was played by Michelle Dockery. She played Rosalind.
Yeah.
And did you know originally Kate Beckinsale was on set shooting for 2 days before she dropped out of that role?
I wonder why. Kate Beckinsale, my
Who knows?
God.
Who knows? Let's put it that way. Who knows?
I'm not being mad, honest. I mean, she's just one of those women where, yeah, you just...
If she didn't like it, she's out.
Sure.
Like she's at
I'm
that
sure
point
everyone
in her
was like,
career.
well, we can't be mad at you.
We
This
can't.
is, yeah. But yeah, that's crazy.
I thought Michelle Dockery knocked it out of the park. This character.
Oh, she did.
And I thought their chemistry was undeniable. Yeah. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, and a smart character as well. You know, she was strong. You know, she kind of owned kind of like a weird Hollywood-esque like auto shop that was like all like women, like really sexy women. That was like, and like you never see that, of course, but yeah, she was a strong character, and she's the one that reminds him immediately like, you're gonna show weakness, and people are gonna be all over you for it. Like she doesn't throw any punches throughout the entire thing. Something I liked, because she's a gangster in herself. She's running all kinds of.
She knows everything that's going on. Yeah,
because remember, she's buying stolen rims from Dry Eye. That's how he gets the
well, it's $100,000 worth of merchandise.
Yeah,
and she goes, no, I'm gonna pay for it. And she goes, no, just get a meeting with your husband. She goes, I'm not gonna do that. He goes, well, then just take it as a token of my appreciation.
And of course, she eventually does do it because gangster world's nothing's free.
Nothing's
we know
free.
that,
No.
but,
and you can't take anything for free because then you owe someone.
No,
there's nothing.
Don't take it.
No,
Yeah,
there's always
that's
a
my
favor
advice.
that comes into
do not
into
take
play.
it. Yeah, that's literally how the mob's made it. So any of its money, it's just like, yeah, it's free. You're good. Never have to worry about it.
Don't
this
worry
one's
about
on
it.
me.
Yeah.
We're super generous. Everyone knows that about the mob.
But
Just relax.
They're really great people.
And then the next day, he's asking you to murder the fucking mayor or the fucking lawyer.
And if you don't, you're going to lose a tongue or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But so eventually, Dry, he does get a meeting, and he meets up with Raymond and Mickey at his bar.
And Raymond, it's so funny because he's just not having it. He's doing paperwork. He's not even paying attention.
I know, and at first they were showing him so much, I almost thought that he was going to be like the one to double cross Mickey at the very start. But he was just not having it. He was just pissed off because when Dry came in, I almost thought like, oh, maybe he set up the meeting and he's in on it or something like that. Not the fucking case. Again, the reason I liked Charlie Hunnam's character so much, Raymond, in this, because you just knew where he was coming from. Yeah. He just loved fucking Mickey. And but yeah, so Dry came in and he gives him an offer, and of course the offer is shit. He's lowballing him.
Yeah.
And Mickey says no.
Well, he's shit, and then Fletcher or not Mickey rather, excuse me. Mickey wasn't having it to begin with. Because he went through his wife instead of just coming to him.
Yeah.
And that pissed him off, too.
Yeah. And he already has a deal going. I mean, the deal's damn near signed and delivered.
Yeah.
So
and
for someone to come in and be like,
he's looking at this Dry Eyes kid as like a young, cocky kid who doesn't know anything about the quote-unquote jungle.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and he tells him the whole spiel. That tells
Which,
him... I like that
so
story.
Funny, because it was just so on the nose. The lion and the dragon.
Yeah. Then he ends up shooting the dragon 5 times in the head.
He goes, now, I'm not a metaphoric or whatever, but you take with that what you will. And I was just like, I was laughing so hard at that.
And it actually is a good scene, though, because you see that Dry Eye, how scared he is. Because remember, he, stutters and hesitates. And Dry, he was played by Henry Golding, who I've seen in only one other thing, Crazy Rich Asians, but
Great
he's
film.
good.
Yes.
He's really good, yeah.
Crazy Rich Asians was so...
Did you see that?
yeah, I did. I saw it in theaters.
Loved
it was
it.
really good.
I saw it in theaters,
I
too.
thought it was awesome.
It was one of my favorite comedies of whatever 2018 or whatever. I was blown away
I
by
couldn't
how
believe
good
how
it was.
good it was either. I was just like, the whole time in the movie, I'm like, I really enjoy this.
It had no
I just-
right. Yeah, but it got like a 98% Rotten Tomatoes or something. It was crazy. But yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
that was,
he was
one
great
of the
in that.
movies we should have reviewed because if we had both,
We should have. I didn't know
should
you
have.
saw it. Yeah, because I was blown away by how good that was. You know, comedies these days are really hit and miss, but that one was just good. But yeah, so he pretty much tells him to fuck off, and Dry Eye is not happy about this. And Dry Eye eventually, unbeknownst to us, he ends up hiring these like 8 guys from this gym. I don't even know how he hired them. It doesn't get into that.
It doesn't get into it, but it's one of those things where it's like, oh, okay.
But I love that scene when they go in and they go in because he hires these guys, these like kids from a gym, to go in and steal some of Mickey's product.
Yep.
Yeah. So they go in there and it's like, and they're all recording and they're all wearing these funky track suits.
But they have like a YouTube channel. It didn't say YouTube specifically.
Yeah.
But they
At
have
this
like
point, we don't know. We
channel
just
or
see that
whatever.
one of them has like 2 cameras that he's holding the entire time. And they both come in, and I love this scene because remember the one guy comes out and he's like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "Who
He's
are
like,
you?"
"Hey,
Yeah, he's not
Jim."
even surprised.
And then he comes in.
Hey, Joey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he comes in. He's like, "What the fuck?" Hey, Frank.
Jeff.
And they all come in one
Yeah.
by one, and they're all like, they just can't believe it. They're like,
No.
what the fuck?
And none of them have like guns or anything or weapons.
Oh yeah,
It was just one of
that's
those
something great
funny
about the
comedic-
UK is gangsters. A lot of them, you just get stabbed. To
Yeah,
death.
that's it.
You
Yeah, a
would
lot
get
of them don't have guns. Well, and then later on, we talk about Matthew McConaughey's character, Mickey.
Yeah.
He got a gun.
5 years,
Paperweight.
yeah.
And it was going to 5 years.
Because
for
he
that
was
little gun.
also a criminal, you know, because he talked about how he couldn't be. Because that was the whole thing is he couldn't, once legalization got around, he couldn't be the face of it because he had such, because he was murdering a lot of people with machetes.
Not
And
good
leaving
for business.
machete at the crime scene was another. But yeah, I love these scenes.
Come to our bloody machete marijuana grow up, and name the company. Just lean into it, I guess.
But I love this scene because I thought for sure these fucking kids in tracksuits were going to get their asses handed to them by these big fucking gangsters. Because it's all these big fucking British guys, yeah. But later we know, like, because it doesn't show any of it. But then it skips on and we show the YouTube video of it. And I laughed. I was just dying when they're going, like, on their way and they're doing like front flips
and
and
stuff. Yeah.
It's a huge like production.
And then he closes the laptop.
and he's rapping on his.
And then he like stops the video and he was like, and then it shows Mickey's guys. He's got like a black eye and stuff. He's like, to be honest, boss, they were hell
I
of a
was
fighters.
dying. He's like, I gotta hand it to him.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not even that mad. He's like, I gotta give it. And Mickey was just
So
like,
those
just get out of
scrappy
here.
boys. Yeah.
That's what he says. He's like, whoever taught those boys knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
that
scene.
British humor. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that is like that dry, funny stuff that you
And I
just-
love that guy was
I can't
just
get
got the
enough of.
shit beat out of him.
His face is all like black and blue.
It's like, I can't be that mad. He's like, they handed it. And I love because we show the video and they're like doing front flip like kicks and like crane kicks. And
Almost like a WWE slash. They're just breaking marijuana.
yeah, what we
tables
learn
and-
is these guys he hired, they're all kids that are all frequenters of like this MMA gym that are all taught by Colin Farrell's character. He's just called Coach.
Coach.
He's a very good fucking coach.
He's a great coach.
Because they're all
Probably
like,
the best coach in the UK.
it's so fun. I laugh so hard when that one guy throws a kid on the desk and he immediately gets him to an arm bar. It was so, like, and then what? And it was funny because when you're watching the video and it did like their introductions and they all had like Ernie and like Chin because he has an iron.
And it's so funny because it's like all they had to like block out their identity was one little black line over their eyeballs. Like you can't get facial recognition.
Yeah, and most of them had nicknames, but Ernie, that was just his
name. They weren't the smartest kids. They were
No,
not.
that was the whole thing. Is they were very dumb, and the whole Colin Farrell kind of got
coach
these
even
kids
says
off
that.
the streets, and like that was the whole thing. Was
trying to teach them to be
classic,
quote unquote
yeah.
good people.
Yeah, through the world of
Fighting.
violence.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so that's how we get introduced to Coach's Mary. He's at the like I don't know, like a falafel place or something. He gets a call from Ernie, and Ernie's just freaking out, telling him that he scored big. Like he got all this shit, and he's like, it's huge, and they bring it to the gym.
The gym, yeah. And there's just like marijuana plants everywhere.
And I love Colin Farrell. He's not that like upset.
He's not that upset. No,
he's obviously mad, but he's not as mad as you would be as like people turning your entire gym into just a grow up, because there's plants like on the mat and everything.
Until he finds out who they stole the product from.
Oh yeah.
Then it gets a little dicey. Then he's scared. But that comes a little later.
Yeah, and they move. They steal that much fucking whatever they call it, weight or whatever. You're not stealing from just some regular guy who's growing.
No.
Because remember, they had freeze dry. They had like it was properly packaged and everything like that. Yeah. So Coach comes in. He tells him to get the fuck out of here. And well, the big thing is he asks the kid who he got it from. He asked Ernie, and Ernie was like, "Jesus," or Ernie says something about you must be a gypsy also, because how'd you know?
Yeah, how'd you know?
Because he knows immediately, and it's bad news once he finds out that it's Mickey's.
Yeah.
But he wants to find out who put these kids up to it, because they didn't go and do it by themselves. So he does some detective work himself, what Coach does, and he fucking kidnaps Fook.
Yeah.
Fuck. Yeah.
PH. With a PH.
Yeah. And even though I've heard that joke so many times in so many different ways, it worked. Just Colin Farrell's delivery of it, and them going back and forth, him and Raymond, him going back and forth, like discussing how to pronounce the name and whatnot, and that guy,
Fuck.
Yeah, Fuck. And them getting that guy and letting him loose, and he immediately runs. Over it.
Well, right after this though, because it is like that cut too. So like we get to the video and stuff, but then Mickey Pearson, Matthew McConaughey's character, he starts taking the weed out of the estate.
Yeah, we got to talk about that because because once they're compromised, because those fucking idiots posted a video on YouTube, so it's like cops are going to see a giant grow up.
And I think that was really the only thing Coach was upset about was the video, more so than them stealing and stuff. He's like, "Are you fucking?"
They videoed
idiots.
Everything though.
Everything.
Yeah. It was fight porn. That's what they kept calling it.
And then at the end too, they recorded that. And I'm like, okay,
these kids are nuts.
Not the brightest.
But yeah. So he tells a couple of states that he's got to pull the plug on him, and this, of course, the states are upset about it. I definitely thought this could have been a time for like one of these estates to like, I want vengeance or something like that. But no, they didn't. They were just it was good while it lasted. But one of the states,
and
go ahead.
Well, that was a scene too with the roof scene.
Yeah,
that you could really tell that like Pearson's or Matthew McConaughey, Mickey Pearson, really cared about his clientele, even though they were rich, elite, upper class. That he wanted to take care of his people. Exactly,
and it was a thing where like these rich upper class people, although they don't do anything, lazy sons of bitches, but at this point they're just taking care of these rich fucking upper class kids who are just all heroin addicts. That's the thing. We go to another state who ask him if they can go find his daughter or their daughter.
Their daughter, yes, and because she ran away with some boys.
Yeah, just some
and they believe that she's druggies. Yeah.
And he, as a favor, he tells Raymond to go do this for him. And Raymond doesn't want to go because it's in a really bad part of the neighborhood that they don't have jurisdiction in. And Raymond's kind of like a neat freak as well. Because he's like, I don't even want him to fucking touch me. I hate going down there. And he talks about it. But I love this scene. It was a really good scene. Again, Charlie Hunnam shined in this scene when they go.
Yes, this was his best.
And
scene
the chase scene was so good when he pulls out the fucking machine gun. I was dying laughing when he was telling the kid to put down the phone. Yeah, and they all came out. And he's like, okay, that's
and he's like, now fuck off.
Yeah, I love that scene. But yeah, the scene of them in the apartment and him going and getting the girl was kind of tense. But then him throwing the guy off the building, and then Fook, who throws himself off the building, and then
gets ran over by a train,
and then Mickey Pearson, Matthew McConaughey, probably his best delivery. He goes, "Damn, Raymond, I'm starting to see a theme here. Maybe we should invest in some parachutes." Because people just keep fucking falling to their death.
Oh, that shit was so funny.
Damn, Raymond. Yeah. But yeah,
that parachute scene was one of the hardest the audience members laughed in the theater.
Oh yeah,
because it was spot on, the delivery, the cut.
As soon as I saw him, because as soon as I saw Fook throw himself over the bridge, I immediately thought, man, this is happening quite a bit.
Often, yeah.
But it was funny. It was a good scene, and the whole thing with the kid being thrown. He didn't really throw himself off in the apartment. One of Raymond's Mickey's associates kind of tossed him over. We ended up finding out that kid ended up being a Russian oligarch.
Yes, and his father was former KGB.
Yeah. Every Russian oligarch is former KGB.
Yeah, you don't want to fuck with former KGB people, man.
No, they'll show you. They'll go anywhere and just poison your ass. Yeah.
We should get the KGB to try to find Epstein's second in charge, because they'll find her.
They'll find her, but they'll just kill her. We'll never get evidence.
We'll never get
They're not part of taking prisoners.
Let's not sign them. No.
Yeah, but which we don't really know right away when he dies that he's because Raymond being very thorough and being a very good gangster, he immediately goes to the apartment and knows every kid there, knows their background, knows what they do, knows what they're addicted to, except for this one kid.
Yeah, and he was like, "This is the fucking anomaly."
Yeah, he's like, "Who the fuck?"
He's like, "Who the fuck are you?"
And it was funny because the kid was just sitting there like, "What the fuck?" But
yeah, he definitely was.
But that scene was really good because it turns quick when one of the kids grabs Raymond. And he turns around and goes, "Don't hits him with the hammer. Ever fucking touch me." Well, he hits the other guy with the hammer.
That was right.
And then that guy just starts beating the shit out of everyone. And he throws the kid off the...
He did. I don't think intentionally, though, because he kind of pushed the kid.
The kid threw 15 foot. Yeah. And the door was wide open. He didn't open that door before, yeah. But, it was an accident, but he fell 30 stories, unfortunately.
Oh, he was dead, for sure. And I love how all the kids, as soon as the body hit, they all just take their phones out, start recording it. It's like, jeez.
Yeah, and then they take off. And that chase scene was very funny to me. But them individually having to go and grab all those kids.
Yeah. Once the body fell, I knew that Russian kid would come into play later on. There's no, because that felt to me like a loose end.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I was like, okay, there was a reason.
Yeah, they were foreshadowing for sure. Because they made a moment again, because they went back to that kid a couple times during that scene. Because that kid kept talking just randomly, and again, be like, "Who the fuck are you?" But again, that whole scene was so good with Charlie Hunnam rolling the joint and everything.
Yes.
It was so really, really good.
He says he likes to go 50-50.
50-50. Yeah, man, that's a spliff.
It is a spliff.
But, so now they got problems because people are dying left and right, unfortunately. So Fletcher's telling Raymond in the present all this. Of course, Raymond knows all this because he's got the Russian kid in his fucking freezer that they had to take. Fletcher doesn't know that he has the kid in the freezer. He finds out on his way to the bathroom as they're bringing the body out.
The body in, yeah. He's like, "Is there a problem here, boss?"
Yeah, that was a good scene.
No, I don't think so.
That was a really good scene. Well shot, too. The way Raymond, Charlie Hunnam's character, comes out of the kitchen, right when it happens.
I gotta say,
kind of a scary moment for Fletcher.
Very scary.
Right, you can feel that, too, yeah.
For whatever reason, just that scene, I'm not talking about the whole film, just that scene in particular was kind of a very Martin Scorsese-esque, where that comedy
kind of reminded me of it too, yeah.
Hit for me, where I was like, oh, okay, that definitely, I could have seen the exact same scene in a Scorsese film.
Yeah, it was that kind of thing where these guys are all funny and joking around, but just remember they can turn and kill you in a heartbeat and wouldn't think twice about it.
You see one wrong thing,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you can joke around with them to a point where, then Joe Pesci's going to start shooting your feet and your legs.
Shooting your whole body.
Yeah, shooting your whole body
with the machine gun. Yeah.
But so Fletcher's telling him that he's gonna, at the very end, he tells him he's gonna need $20 million in 72 hours, or he's gonna give Big Dave all this shit, and Big Dave's gonna release and show what Mickey's been doing, and the world's gonna know about Mickey. And Fletcher also tells Charlie though that he's been following around Matthew, the guy who's gonna buy
Burger.
Yeah. Who he ends up finding that Matthew has been associating with Dry Eye, trying to drive down the price.
And we see that over at the football game.
Yep.
Soccer game, whatever.
Exactly,
they call it football over there. But
yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I love that scene, too, when Fletcher's telling that he's, zooming in, and he's like, I hired a professional a lip reader.
I like that scene, too. It was where they had to play,
play the character's
voices.
Just put a little something behind your character. Come on. So funny.
Yeah, that was a good scene. Yeah, and because for a while Mickey thinks that Dry Eye was working for what was his name?
George.
Yeah, was it? Yeah.
Yes, but little unbeknownst to Burger, that's where his whole plot fell apart. Is because Dry Eye, even though George was going to execute Dry Eye with the hitman, the hitman actually executed George instead of Dry Eye.
And George is this old school Chinese gangster who
sells heroin and coke.
He's kind of been a rival. He's never been able to get into the marijuana market because Mickey has always had a corner on it.
Yep. And I that was one of my favorite scenes for Matthew McConaughey, was that scene with him and George.
I like the scene
in the restaurant.
I did not expect the
restaurant.
projectile vomit. I did not see it coming.
Again, hilarious in such a serious moment.
But because it ends up being good when he's like, if I can get to you here in your own kitchen, just know I can get to you anywhere. Yeah, and that was a good scene. Unfortunately for George, he doesn't last much longer
than that.
Because George had nothing to do with it.
He had nothing. He was so confused, I think, during the whole thing. He's like, hey, man, I thought you were just coming here to enjoy some tea.
Yeah.
And you spiked my tea. So projectile vomiting everywhere.
George goes to Dry Eye and he's like, what the fuck? He's like, you can't do this. He's like, and then Dry Eye, same old spiel. Like,
I'm the new, you're the old.
Yeah.
Out with the old, in with the new kind of thing.
Yep. And then Dry Eye gets the bright idea that he's going to go kidnap Mickey's wife.
Dumbass. Yeah. What are you doing, kid?
He says because he's embarrassed at this point, and he's like, I'm gonna go straight to the source, I guess. But bad fucking choice for Dry Eye. Because early on we saw that Mickey got a gun, a paperweight
with 6 bullets
from Matthew earlier. Yeah, as kind of a good gesture or gift before the deal goes through, and he gave that to his wife because Mickey can't be carrying around a gun because he'll go to prison. So, so Dry Eye goes to Rosalind's sexy auto shop. Yeah,
sexy auto shop. That's what it's called. Yeah, the name of the shop.
And he's telling her that he's gonna kidnap her, right? That you're coming with me, and she says no. She just says no.
And I love the way that she sets this up, because you can see how smart her character is. They come into the office, Dry Eye and his 2 goons are standing there. It's 3v1.
Yeah.
And she goes, would you guys like a cigar? I don't remember what cigar she said specifically. And they go, no, that's fine. She grabs the box that has the little gun in it and opens it up. And you can see she took the gun and made sure that there were bullets in it. Like, put the bullets, because it could only hold 2 in the chamber. Very smart on her part. Because it did look like a cigar box when she opened it.
Unfortunately, Dry Eye brought... There's 3 guys total.
Yes.
So she does...
2 goons and him.
Yeah, she does kill the first 2.
Okay, again, great humor in this, because you didn't know whether or not... Because the gun's so small. I mean, those bullets were smaller than a .22.
Oh, yeah.
They were tiny.
And we forgot to mention at the very start, first 30 seconds, it's teased that Mickey gets assassinated right at the start. Then it goes reverse, and then we get to this moment. So at the same moment when she's about to be taken, he's about to be assassinated. But Raymond comes in.
Saves the day.
Because Mickey was on the phone with Rosalind when he gets attempted assassination. So that's the same. And Rosalind tells Mickey that Dry Eye just came in, that he's going to take her. So after that, they immediately hop in a car, and a good scene. They get in a car wreck, really bad wreck, and Mickey takes off running.
He was upside down, got out of the car.
Yeah. And runs off, and at just the nick of time, right before Dry Eye was about to go full fucking rape mode, which I thought came kind of out of nowhere.
I thought it came out of nowhere too.
This got dark all of a sudden. Yeah,
really dark.
I wasn't sure. I thought he was going to go through with it.
You know what it was? You know what it was? What it really showed about Dry Eye? His unprofessionalism.
Oh, and how shitty it was.
But I mean, unprofessional as a gangster.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, that's something you don't do.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you kidnap, but you don't rape someone else's wife.
No.
And then expect
not in no place
any
of business or anything. Yeah.
Because that's unacceptable. Even to gangsters, there are some things that are completely unacceptable.
Oh, yeah.
Like murder and all that, they're fine with. But you don't do that to another man's wife.
Yeah, absolutely. But he didn't. He didn't get he attempted, didn't get away with it. Luckily.
No, he got maybe like 3 seconds in.
Because Mickey comes in and puts like 9 bullets in his head.
Yes.
I think actually he shot him 5 times. I think if that was the dragon thing, I think he put 5 bullets in his head. Just like
foreshadowing too.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was perfect. And then like as she's leaning over on the, because he didn't get anywhere. He didn't even get his pants off or anything.
No.
But she's over the desk, and I like the blood scene where he goes, where you see Matthew McConaughey shoots him 5 times, and then the blood splatter on her face.
Oh yeah,
I was like,
she
damn,
gets covered
him
in blood for sure. But yeah, so she's safe, and at this point, Coach Raymond is telling Coach he's got to do these things to make amends for what his kids did, and he's got to do first. He kidnapped Fook.
Yep.
Then Fook died.
PH.
Yeah, PH. And then Raymond told him to do one more thing.
And then this is where Coach says, hey, I never wanted to be a gangster. I'm making pendants for what my fighters did, but this is my last thing that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because he goes 3 strikes.
Because he says I'm not going to be on the fucking hook forever because of this. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just 3 and I'm done. So,
he ends up doing a 4th, but
he
and it ends up being a
that
funny
was kind
joke.
of a goodwill, kind of pro bono thing,
like,
where
hey,
it was like
we're
charity.
good, we're even, now we're even. Please don't kill me.
So what he's got to do is him and his boys have to go and kidnap Big Dave. Mm-hmm. And they do.
The tabloid guy.
And this
is a funny scene.
This is a scene that I also did not see coming, because they drug Big Dave, because they got to prevent Big Dave, because no matter what, they're not going to pay Fletcher.
No, and Fletcher had 2 security.
Yeah, we learned that too, because Fletcher says he has to have insurance. If he dies, this gets out. Mm-hmm. And what Coach did was he went and found those things and brought him here, or brought him to Raymond. And then he went and he kidnapped Big Dave, and they videotaped him fucking, hinting at them he fucked a pig. They drugged him and he fucked a pig.
I love when they open, or when they show the picture, or because they're talking to him the whole time, to Big Dave in the van.
Yeah, and he's real naked. Dirty.
Yeah, real dirty, and he's naked, and he's like, hey,
that's
just
the first
relax,
thing I thought.
relax.
I'm like, why is he naked? Because it flashes they literally kidnap him.
And then he's naked in the van. And I love how his clothes are all neatly folded together, I
like that scene when they go and pick him up too, because his driver, he's like, yeah, he knows karate. And the guy's like, yeah, and he puts up the weirdest, and all those guys who are like elite MMA fighters, like, oh, you know karate, dude.
Karate,
and they all
really?
9 of them get out,
And then he's like, sorry, boss.
Yeah, and he just takes off, But yeah, they pretty much blackmail him, and he does. Poor pig, in my opinion, is the real victim of this entire fucking thing.
Because it wasn't consensual.
Because that is a rape.
It is a rape of a
that
pig,
is a rape.
And it's not okay.
It's not okay
but it
for
did
anyone.
Happen.
It did happen, unfortunately. And but they're gangsters, they're not farmers.
I love how they put the whole time they're talking about it, because they show Mickey Pearson, they show everyone.
Oh,
and
it's so hilarious.
E-I-E-I-O.
Well, not even that, but when he's telling him,
he had a pig.
He's telling him, he's like, because even Raymond, when he's telling him after the event, he's like, you did what? He's like, yeah, and he kind of can't believe it. He's like, yeah, and he's like, yeah, once you see it, you can't
unsee it.
You can't, and he's like, you can tell he's like emotionally scarred by it.
They're so serious through that whole scene. It's just brilliant comedy.
Yeah, you can tell he's just like really it fucked him up, like it affected him.
He's like, that's not the pig I would have chose either.
But
oh God.
Yeah, so in the end, Fletcher has nothing because he can't sell it to anyone. Although in my mind, he could have just went to another tabloid.
Could have, yeah, definitely could have.
But I guess it's movie.
Big Dave was the biggest
yeah.
tabloid.
Yeah, when fucking it's UK, they have like 50 tabloids. Yeah. So, but yeah, so he pretty much just gives up, and he's kind of also threatened that they're gonna kill him, also because they put him in a little case when it happens. So that's when Coach is meeting with Raymond. He says, that's 3. I had that guy fuck a pig. I also kind of murdered that other Asian guy. And he went around gathering the evidence. He's like, that's 3. I'm done. At this time, though, we follow back. Word's getting around to the Russian oligarch that his son just fucking was thrown out a window.
Yeah.
He's reasonably not happy. Now he's got things in the work. He's going to kill Mickey and everyone else. But at this point, Mickey is meeting with Matthew. Final scene, they meet at some fish market or something, and Matthew, of course, says it's 1:30 now. He's like, you had to shut down places. You lost all this money. When he goes over
all the numbers about how he lost here and there in the restructuring
and I was
going to
lose money every year, and I was going to take years to regain all that and whatnot. Lotta. So now he says 1:30, which was obvious. It was the whole entire thing. Was he was driving prices down. He was working with Dry Eye. And not a big twist, but yeah, Mickey was like, yeah, I lost all that money. You're absolutely right. He's like, so I'm not going to sell my business, but someone's got to pay what I lost back. Mm-hmm. And then he goes, this all happened for a reason. He's like, someone put all this into motion. And then Matthew's like, oh, well, that's not my problem. And then Mickey's like, well, he kind of is your problem. Because he shows him the evidence of him and Dry Eye. And he's like, I don't know that guy. Even after he saw the video, plausible deniability. You always got to. It's always the go-to. He's like, yeah, I don't know him. But he's like, you do fucking know him because I got video of him. And now he's like, you're going to pay me the $270 is what he made.
Transfer me that money.
$270 million, because that's what he lost. Mm-hmm. But you're not getting the business. You're not getting anything.
Nope.
Oh, and I want a pound of flesh.
And a pound's a lot
of
flesh. And
that's a literal pound of flesh.
A literal pound of flesh, yeah.
It's not like when you got to repay with a pound. It is. You don't think it's a lot, but it's a lot.
Until you have a pound
and you got to decide where it's
going from. Pound's coming from.
And Mickey says, he says 1 gram under, $1 under.
You're not getting out of this freezer.
Yeah, you're not getting out of the freezer. And that's it. Or is it?
It's not.
Mickey's all good. He hops in the car. He's like, all right, send me off. Let's go. And who we know? A couple of Ruskies got the wheel. These fucking Russians. And they got some bad intentions. And at this point, there's a couple of Russians at Raymond's house as well. But luckily, Coach just left. And Coach, on the way out, saw these Russians coming in. Coach's got a gun. Of course, all good coaches carry guns. And he pops these guys.
Both of them.
Kills them. Which, again, he's doing a lot.
Well, at this time, Fletcher's giving his whole plan to Raymond of what's happening. And you can see, like, Fletcher's trying to get out. And Raymond's like, hey, what's going on? He goes, well, as a matter of fact, I'm safe now because I'm telling you that there are Russian assassins here to kill you.
But at this point, Raymond's telling Fletcher everything that he knows, everything that Fletcher knows. And that Raymond's been following Fletcher.
Oh, my God. Those scenes were so funny where it's like him in the bushes.
And my audience didn't laugh very much at these scenes.
Mine did.
But I was dying because I laughed. Because again, the editing. He's in like a bush and like if pans like 4 feet over and he's also
taking pictures of.
He's like, you're good, but I'm really good. And he's like 5 feet behind. He's like taking pictures of him, taking pictures.
It's like it's just so comical.
It is hilarious because it's
so comical.
But he's like, but Raymond pretty much is like, yeah, I knew everything. I just wanted to for you to confirm that Dry Eye was in with Matthew. That's all he needed, and that was a big ploy. So then Fletcher's got nothing, but Fletcher's like, you're going to want to hear this, because Fletcher also knows about the Russians.
And at this point, Fletcher's whole plan has been completely disintegrated.
Oh, yeah.
So he's trying to save his own tail and not get killed.
Oh, yeah, and he was going to and he knew about the Russians, and he was just going to let them come in and kill him.
Yeah. Because he wanted
double bubble.
Remember the double bubble.
Exactly.
$20 million from them, and then the Russians were going to pay him too.
And being the really good, great, conniving snake of a character that was built up this entire time. That very end when he's just rambling off things just to save his ass. It's a really, really good scene for Hugh Grant. Yeah. Because he's like, well, yeah, he's like, that was the plan at the start, but until all this happened, now I'm changing.
Now we're switching it up.
But so Raymond does get away, and but Coach gets a call from the
boys,
the tracksuit fellas, that they're all rallying and they're gonna fix this whole thing. They're going to kill Mickey.
Yeah.
They're going to kill Mickey and everyone else. Yeah. Because these guys are the dumbest of the dumbest. They're going to kill Mickey like that was going to solve anything. You'd eventually just die anyways. But luckily they kill the Russians on accident.
Perfect for Coach.
Perfect.
Because he gets plausible deniability. Hey,
at this point, Coach is going crazy. He's on the phone. He's like, oh my God. He's like, I got to get rid of
this. Mind if you're a coach, because
you got to go and beat the shit out of these kids eventually.
Well, you finally fixed it between these gangsters who could have killed everyone.
Yeah.
He just then gets done with it. He saves the lives of Raymond. And then his kids are calling him up and being like, hey, we're going to end it all. And now they're trying to assassinate Mickey.
Yeah.
You got to be like, oh my God, just shaking your head if you're coach.
This coach literally risked his ass. He's
for these
murdered
kids.
multiple people at this point.
Yeah.
Over these kids.
And they're still fucking up.
They're still
just stupid.
At every turn doing they're videotaping the fucking murder.
They had like 10 cameras going as they're shooting up the vehicle. It's so funny.
But that is how Mickey ends up getting away, and he ends up just running his marijuana empire. That's how he does it. He doesn't retire.
No, he does not.
And everything kind of works out. I mean, the Russians are probably still pissed.
Yes, they are.
We got to think. Probably still problems, but...
So when we get the Gentleman 2, it'll be the Russians versus Mickey.
But we get the very end. Again, this is where it gets kind of weird and kind of really meta, is when Fletcher goes to Miramax, who produced The Gentleman.
Yes.
And he's selling his script to a guy. And again, there's like the man from U.N.C.L.E. who Karen was in. But Fletcher leaves Miramax and gets in a cab, and the cab is driven by Raymond.
And immediately, it's not good. It doesn't end well for Fletcher, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And I love how instantly he sees that it's Raymond. He tries to get out, and he's like, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Like he didn't think about that. He didn't think about like bolting
or
putting the child's lock on. I mean, come on.
Again, that was the highlight of the entire film for me, was Hugh Grant and Charlie Hunnam's interactions. I mean, we barely got into it, but like the sexual tension between Hugh Grant and him just like heavily flirting with him the entire time, and like putting his hand on his leg was hilarious.
And we got to talk about this too. Hugh Grant had 5 days on set. Which he had to perform over 40 pages of dialogue within those 5 days. I mean, yes, Hugh Grant's been doing this forever, but what a professional.
Yeah, I don't know if he was...
that's not an easy task. And all the dialogue that he had, and the way he put it together.
What a time bomb he was on. Why did he... I don't know what
he's a busy man, probably.
He's a busy man, but I mean, 5 days. That's asking a lot.
40 pages of dialogue. That's so impressive.
And he never met Matthew McConaughey.
No, he didn't meet Matthew McConaughey until... God, it slips my mind now, but he didn't meet him until after the fact.
Until Talk Show.
Oh, yeah, until the Talk Show.
Until they were both on just a random, I think it was Graham Norton in the UK.
Yep, you're right.
And he's like, this is the first time I ever met, because I mean, 5 days, and they never have a scene together.
No, which is funny. They didn't.
Yeah, they never.
The only one that you could have technically said they were in together, but they weren't. It was 2 different shots. Was the Bush scene when he was taking pictures of them?
But they obviously, and they weren't shot together.
No, the same.
That's not how they. It's not like they turned around and be like, okay, now you do your Bush. Why he's doing this?
That's not how movies
We're gonna keep this. Yeah. But yeah, they never met or anything, which is kind of amazing to me. 5 days, 40 pages of dialogue. I mean, he has way more. He has more dialogue than Matthew McConaughey.
Yes,
he probably has
got
more
a ton of dialogue.
He has more dialogue probably than anyone, hands down. He's literally the narrator.
You got to talk about how much fun those scenes must have been for Hugh Grant to just have one other actor there, and then like you trying to pitch your screenplay idea. Like that, the dialogue between them was fun. So I'm sure he had a good time.
And again,
going
he's
through
chewing of the scene, right? I mean, he is just taking over these scenes when him and Charlie are going back and forth. Just that. The weird, I can't even do an impression of him doing it, but the character that it's an amazing character.
It is.
It's one of my favorite of the year. I'll go ahead and say that. One of my favorite characters of this year. It's only been 26 days.
It's only been it's only been
so
a month.
I don't have a lot to base off, but I can say it's one of my favorite. But yeah, Mason, what did you think? Let's give our closing.
Closing thoughts.
Closing statements.
Yeah, I just I really like the way this movie was put together. I love gangster films. And Guy Ritchie has his own style, too. You know, it's not that Scorsese style. It's his own take on gangster movies. I love the characters in this. The characters were fun. The humor was on point for me in this film. The whole thing. Like, I was laughing through it. While also, you know, you have such a great ensemble, a cast. Like, just... You know, with Matthew McConaughey going real dark and real serious in some of these scenes, and Colin Farrell with a lot of his funny, moments as coach, and then the relationship between Charlie Hunnam and Hugh Grant was spot on. Some of my favorite scenes were just those two interacting with each other.
Oh yeah, my favorite scenes for sure.
Right, and to put together a story like this and to have it all make sense, like I feel like you don't have to be a movie buff to go see this film, and you'll understand everything that's going on.
Oh yeah,
I think the target audience was perfect for what Guy Ritchie was able to do with this film. I went away from this film surprisingly like, wow, I really enjoyed this movie. You know, and I think the only really bad thing or whatever, the thing that you could quote unquote critique about this film was something that you brought up earlier on this podcast, and that was the villain.
Yeah.
Not having like that real kind of
Yeah.
like, oh my God, menacing, or not even menacing, but just more of a villainous.
Well, yeah, if you go back and watch any of his previous gangster films, you have like I don't know, like Bullet Tooth Tony and stuff, characters that are fucking, you know, frightening and bigger than life on screen. But this one didn't have either of that.
Yeah, and I think that was really the only critique that you could take away from that, from this film. But like this is just so enjoyable. The one word I can use to just watch this film is enjoyable. And for me, Guy Ritchie knocked it out of the park as far as that is concerned. So are we giving our grades right now?
Go for
okay.
it.
I'm giving, and I know this is a high grade, and that's fine. But I always have to be honest with like how I liked movies. I'm giving this a B+.
Wow.
And I really do recommend this film to anyone who enjoys gangster films. I had fun with this movie, Cash.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. And the humor. I love the dry humor. I'll talk about it one more time. There's something about British humor that I thoroughly enjoy.
Yeah.
And I love this movie.
Yeah.
I really did. One of my favorite of the year.
I agree. I agree with you with that. It's I enjoyed it a lot. I was laughing the entire time. It's a relief for me to see Guy Ritchie going back to what he knows, and you know, it's not his best gangster film for sure, but it's his best film in probably 10 years in my opinion.
Yes.
But yeah, like you said, it's the characters in Guy Ritchie film, and he has a certain style where if you're watching it, you know it's a Guy Ritchie film.
Totally.
And it is that combination of that ensemble cast for every single one of his movies. He somehow gets this giant group of amazing
impressive.
British actors together that all work so well together. For some reason, it always seems like they have such strong chemistry. You know, even like Matthew McConaughey between him and like Mickey and Raymond and stuff. It always seems like they've like, you could tell in the movie, it seems like they've known each other for a long time. And that's not always an easy thing to do between actors. Sometimes it just doesn't mesh, but he always finds a way. But yeah, like I said, the comedy worked really well for me. I gave it a B-.
Okay.
I would recommend it for sure. It's especially as far as January goes, but January's been pretty good so far for us, surprisingly.
Yeah.
But
it really has. One movie that we're not going to review on the podcast that came out in January that I was pleasantly surprised with. It's not a perfect film. It's not, you know, an award winner or top 10 best film of the year. But for a January thriller sci-fi movie.
Yeah, you were telling me about this
I was
before.
telling you, Underwater
just talking
really
about
wasn't
it.
that bad. So that's another recommendation I have. If you want to just have fun at the theater and not have to think too much and kind of have this thriller sci-fi movie, then I would recommend Underwater as well.
Yeah.
January really has not been that bad, Cash. I mean, there have been some really bad Januaries that we've had and bad Februaries, but even February's looking pretty promising.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully it is.
Well, Birds of Prey at least.
Yeah.
It's a bare minimum.
I'm almost guaranteed that we'll at least have one good film. But I mean, that should be the case with how many more films are being released these days. Is we shouldn't have bad months, but we still do.
We still do sometimes, yeah.
We definitely still do, and we don't want to talk too early, but yeah, it's been pretty good. I mean, January's only has fucking 5 days left, but February's the big one.
Yep.
If February is good, you can almost guarantee a pretty solid movie year.
For sure.
It's like the farmer's almanac of foretelling.
Or like Groundhog's Day.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
Is there going to be more days in winter or spring?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or if like I don't know.
It sets the
like
tone
hedgehogs
for the rest
have more
of the
fur
year.
on their body, or something. You know, it's gonna be a harsh winter.
Exactly.
But yeah, you can almost tell. So hopefully, this is foreshadowing of what to comes. Because
I thought that I really liked this movie, just plain and simple.
So did I. And
just had fun.
Miramax, it may be the first film I've seen done by Miramax since
it's been a little while.
Yeah, since all the shit that came out about Harvey Weinstein.
Weinstein.
Stuff like that. Yeah. So
well, it's under a new banner now, right? Or under new.
Yeah. Well, he's not running.
He's definitely not running.
Yeah, I noticed when it said Miramax and it said like something group under it, which is the first time I've ever seen that. But yeah, I think this is the first Miramax movie I've seen, which is incredible that Miramax did not completely go under.
Yeah.
During all that, because
I can't
Harvey
believe it
Weinstein literally built Miramax from the ground up.
Yeah.
But somehow they were able to revamp.
They were able to just kind of keep it together.
It's just good. I think it's ran by all women now. I think they did a quick contrast of Harvey Weinstein and like, okay, we got to do opposite of what was happening. But yeah, pretty good. I would definitely recommend it. If you're going to the theater, I don't think there's anything coming out this following week. So if you're going to the theater,
go check this one out.
I think right now
we've got Bad Boys for Life.
Yes,
Underwater.
which I did see.
Yeah, you did see. I haven't got to see that yet.
Yeah,
I really want to see that before it leaves.
But if you can still see Just Mercy.
God, I want to see it so bad.
In general, I would recommend that.
You saw that too, right?
Above all, I would recommend that above all right now. I don't know if it's still in theaters with all these other movies coming out right now. But if you can still see it, I would recommend it, man.
Yeah.
Heavy, heavy movie, but really, really good. Great acting. Jamie Foxx.
He's incredible.
Every time I think he's washed up, he comes out with...
How was Michael B. Jordan in that?
Good. I'm not a big Michael B. Jordan fan either. I'm not a big Michael... But he did a really, really good job.
Awesome.
Yeah. Check it out.
Alrighty. Well, that is our review for The Gentleman, the Guy Ritchie directed film. You can, my name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Krause. You guys can follow us on social media. Seen It Podcast on Twitter, Instagram. Have you seen it? Facebook. Have you seen it podcast? You can find our podcast on anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Stitcher. And be sure to check out our YouTube page, guys. We post these videos on there. We do trailer reactions. We got a few things going on our YouTube channel. So be sure to subscribe, like the videos, comment below. Let us know what you're thinking. If you guys have any questions about movies coming up or anything, be sure to hit us up on any of our social media pages, even YouTube. We'd really like to start answering questions and doing that sort of thing as well. So I think that about does it. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Krause. And until next time.
Bye.